everybody, and welcome back to the next Rocking Midlife podcast show. And I'm really excited because today I have a fabulous lady on this show. And I've known this lady for a while now, and she's a very clever cookie when it comes to all things health and well-being. So Lauren Parsons, I'd like to welcome you.
Thank you so much, Kat. It's so lovely to be here.
It's great to finally have you in the same country too. I was trying to connect with Lauren when she was in Canada the last few years, and we kind of never quite really, I think we did it once, but it was a little bit of a juggle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, time zones and all of that. Yeah, so it's great to be home. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. How long have you been back in the country for?
So we are now in the Manawatu, and we got back January 2019, so just over a year.
Yeah. Now, I was just having a chat to Lauren to give you a little bit of background. Lauren's husband's in the military. So, Lauren, tell us how many places you've lived in.
So, well, since we've been married, we've moved 15 times. We've been married 17 years and moved 15 times, 6 times internationally. So, yeah, all around New Zealand, and then to and from Australia, France and Canada. And
it's interesting because, you know, moving house is one of those high stress type things on, you know, those scales that talk about stress. Well, we moved 13 times when we were in Australia and have, you know, emigrated over here. So we know a little bit what it's like, but you went internationally 6 times. How did you find that as a mother and as an entrepreneur? How did you find that?
Well, that's a great question and a big question. You know, just as a mother, that was really challenging. I had one of my babies overseas. My daughters have been to multiple schools and different school systems and really had their schooling affected by the seasons as well, having to leave partway through a year and then come back and sort of recap. So as a family, it's been pretty huge. The benefits have been incredible, being able to live surrounded by snow for 6 months of the year in Ottawa, Canada, to learn ice skating and skiing. You know, so from a personal point of view, huge benefits. And also I think it's really resilience building because it is challenging, uprooting, having to make new friends, having to reconnect. And then from a business point of view, I mean, that's probably another whole kettle of fish, but when we first moved from New Zealand to Australia and my business was really thriving in the Manawatu, we thought we were going for a year and then coming straight back, and then it ended up that we moved to Wellington after that and then went to Canada for 2 years. So we ended up being away from my hometown for 5. And during that time, a lot of the work that I had been doing in person, training groups and running, actually at the time, my Get Fit Feel Fabulous program live in person, then converted to being an online program, which now is still running and has been really successful. So I did lots of video work. So it was just adapting and changing. And here we are now in April 2020 and the lockdown and all having to adapt and change. So it's been really, I guess, I'm just really thankful for the past experiences that I had that have helped me to know what it's like to pivot what I do and change. And I think last night I heard some great wisdom in a group call that I was on, that nothing in life is really that certain anyhow. We have this false sense that it's certain. And because we've got this elevated sense of uncertainty right now, a lot of us are feeling really unsettled. But actually we can still be optimistic about the future because it was never really certain anyhow. And how can we adapt and pivot to make the best of this situation right now in our personal lives and in our businesses or careers? Yeah,
I love that. That's so true, because you're right. Nothing was ever guaranteed. So you kind of roll with it, don't you? Or you've got no option really. Otherwise, that you'll just be overwhelmed and stressed and upset. And
and I think it helps to highlight what's really important in life, you know, and I'm loving things like coming back to the basics of, you know, when I'm outdoors and I actually see another human being from outside of my bubble, I'm like, hi, how are you going there? And it's just really nice seeing the community spirit and people pulling together. And I think it's giving us all this chance to actually reflect on what is important. One of my friends has termed this as our cocooning time. You know, we're cocooning and we're going to come out of this and we will bounce back and we are resilient, and we'll actually start to realise just how resilient we are, our families are, our children are, and we will be able to perhaps more meaningfully choose what it is that we want to do in the future, the things that really light us up. So I think that that's really exciting right now.
Love that. That's so cool. I'm just going to read something, hence the glasses. Just reading about one of your motto that you had on about your business. So it's Lauren Parsons, Wellbeing. I equip and inspire women to truly boost their health and happiness for life. I really love that. I love that you're not just talking about health as a physical thing, but you're also talking about it as an emotional well-being, overall holistic picture for life. What tips would you have for women, particularly, we're talking about women in midlife, so we're talking like late 30s upwards, and I know that you've just hit the big 40 this year yourself. So what would your be?
Yes.
Yeah, are you loving it? Is it good?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, actually, my husband and I both turned 40 actually just late last year. And so we went overseas to celebrate our 80th birthday. And it's amazing. I can remember as a teenager thinking that 40 was really old.
Yeah. 40's
and
cool.
I mean, so much of it is just mindset, isn't it? Yeah. And I mean, I just feel so blessed to be healthy and well, and to be able to get stuck in and have tons of fun with my kids. And
That's so cool.
40 is a great age, and I'm just looking forward to many more fun decades ahead, really.
Well, I can tell you the 50s rock, so it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what tips would you have for women, midlife women who are in this lockdown situation, who maybe have fledgling businesses and things of their own? How would you suggest that they look after their happiness and well-being and everything in this time?
Oh, that is huge.
Big question,
and that's such a broad question as well. So just to try and bring it into some areas, that is my vision, is to help and equip and inspire you to truly boost your health and happiness. And I think realizing that those two things go together, that they're totally inextricably linked, that you can't have one without the other. So number one, I would say, is don't pay lip service to, that saying that you've got to put your own oxygen mask on first. Actually do it. And I know that this is a real challenge for so many women, because so often we are in roles where we are carers and we are providers for other people, and we're out there loving and caring for and supporting all these other people in our lives. And so often I've talked to so many, countless number of clients who feel that when they take time for themselves, that makes them feel guilty, and they feel that it's selfish. And what I would say, if that is you, it's easy for you to think of all these things that you could do to support your health and well-being, but the number one thing is to realize that you deserve it, that you are precious and you are amazing right now, just the way that you are. And if you want to improve your health and happiness, that you absolutely can. And it starts by knowing that you are so amazing that you deserve time for you. And often we have this tape, like the old cassette tape, you girls will remember this, playing in our minds, that says taking time for me is selfish. And if you feel like you're being selfish and you feel guilty, that as a human being is one of those feelings that you will do anything you can to avoid. So you'll find that you just end up giving time out to everyone else, and you end up bottom of the list, and you think, where did all that time go? I still didn't get to sit down and just read my book, or go for my run, or do my nails, or whatever I wanted to do today. But what you can do is hit eject on that tape and re-record over it with taking time for me is essential. And when you do that, when you know that taking time for you is essential, because it's going to give you all of this energy and love that you can then fill your own cup up and overflow out to everyone else around you, it's actually selfish not to do that. And not doing that is actually selfish. That's my little bit of tough love from me to you, that if you're walking around as that grumpy, impatient version of yourself because you're not taking time out for you, that is actually selfish. And so, but a lot of clients sort of had that sort of chat with me and had that real mindset flip, that actually taking time for me is essential. And I think now more than ever, we need to do that. We need to find ways to fit in what I call non-negotiables into our day, whether it's getting up by yourself for a walk or a bike ride, just totally on your own for that time out that you need for your own headspace, or whatever is the one thing that if you could do it every day would help you feel grounded and centered. Make sure that you do that, because not only will it help you, it will help everyone else around you.
Really, really good tips. Really good tips. And so true, isn't it? So
have you got one of those things, like what's your one? Have you got a non-negotiable or something that you find really charges you up, Kat?
Mine is time on my own. It's the introvert thing. So I need time on my own to be recharged so I can cope. So I'm finding it challenging having people around me at all times, and lots of interaction online. So I find that I need to get somewhere, go in a room or do something, be on my own for a while so that I can just be recharged. It has nothing to do with me not loving the people around me. It's just that I feel depleted after a while if I'm always near people. So if that's going out for a walk, or if it's just being in my room, just reading a book or whatever, it's trying to find that half an hour on my own just to regroup, recharge, and
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then to come back to your question, because it is quite broad, I think that's sort of the foundation, that if you're listening in and you can recognize, yes, I need to take time for me, so that's like a number one layer. And then things that you can do, practical things. If we talked about, the three biggest ones are probably work on your mindset in terms of focus on what you want, really get a clear picture of how you want life to be, what you want it to look and feel like, and particularly how it will feel, because we know that we're actually really driven by that limbic part of our system, our emotional brain.
Yep.
So if we've pictured how we want our life to be and how it will look and feel, then that will start to switch on your subconscious to really help you move towards it, to notice opportunities in line with heading towards that. So there's a whole lot I could say around that, but really understanding some of those dynamics around mindset are really key. And then on a real practical level, my philosophy is to eat more real food. And so my book, Real Food, Less Fuss, came about because I wanted to make it really simple and easy for people to just have more real food in their lives. There's so many different fads and diets and crazy things out there and contradictory and confusing advice. But if we boil it all down, if we can find a happy medium where you just focus first on getting more real food in, so cook huge meals in bulk that are nutritious for you, and create a library of meals in your freezer is one of my philosophies.
That's
menu
great
plan, and I used to be the worst menu planner in the world. I used to get home at 8 o'clock at night and grab a chicken breast out of the freezer and think, what am I going to cook? But now I'm menu plan so that I know I only have to cook 2 nights a week. I have all the other nights off cooking because I'm just defrosting and taking out meals that I've pre-cooked. So, this is getting into some really specific little tips, but one of the key things to boost your nutrition, which will boost your mood and your health, is obviously to be organised and plan it out ahead so that it's actually easier to eat well than it is not to. And I know that now that we're in lockdown right now, or perhaps if you're listening to this later on in the aftermath of that we are busier than ever, and obviously having to cook our own food. So for a lot of people, that in itself is overwhelming. But if you can set yourself up with simple systems, I've got what I call my sensational salad blueprint, which allows you to throw together a sensational salad in seconds.
That sounds fabulous.
Might even just be some canned vegetables, but a delicious vinaigrette, which I did learn from living in France. We learned to eat like the French. And just, committing to maybe having a salad every day. If you can just commit to have a salad every day, have treats, enjoy your food, don't deprive yourself, because that mentality never works, the diet and deprivation side. But if you can focus first on getting more good stuff in, that's really key. And then around exercise, I've got some unique tips around that as well. If you haven't already heard of my TED Talk, I'd invite you to check it out. And it's all about how to snack on exercise. So I did a TED Talk, Snack on Exercise, Boost Your Brain, Body and Mood, 2 years ago, 2018, at TEDx Oneonta in New York. So just Google snack on exercise and you'll actually find a whole philosophy around how you can move just for 4 minutes a day, the same amount of time that you take to brush your teeth, ideally in 1 minute bursts. So especially if you are working from home, throughout your day you can get up from your desk, do a minute of movement and then get back, whether it's doing some push-ups on your desk or on the kitchen counter, doing some little squat reaches, just going for a lap around the house, see if you can beat your time, or finding a way that you love to move, whether that's dancing, something like that. If you can fit short bursts of movement into your day, it will, number one, boost your mood, but number two, really have huge health benefits. And in my TED Talk, I go into the science behind that. So that's kind of a bit of a broad overview of some of my top tips around real food, snack on exercise, focus on what you want in terms of your mindset.
Which are all brilliant, not just for in lockdown and not just for the average woman, but particularly for women who are entrepreneurs too, because they're the ones who don't necessarily have set routines or boundaries or reminders that, hello, it's lunchtime now, get up, do this, whatever, like you might do in an office situation. So I think for female entrepreneurs, these are great tips, like use those timers and work with your productivity that you and I both often talk about, but then break it up with activity like actual movement and, the whole foods and all of that. What would you suggest to, because I'm going to be getting more and more entrepreneurs listening to this recording, because the women, I don't know if you realize this, Lauren, but entrepreneurialism amongst women, particularly in the over 50s area, is one of the fastest growing demographics in new businesses and so forth. So there's more and more women who are stepping up and trying to launch out on their own, some still with families around them, some at empty nest stage. But for you, as someone who's been an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur, and has relocated, and you talked about resilience, what would be a couple of tips you would give to women entrepreneurs who maybe are earlier in their stage, who are just, a couple of years into it and still finding it tough? What would you suggest?
Well, I think, first of all, I take my hat off to you. I think good on you. That is amazing. And I know that one of your sayings, Kat, is that it's never too late to have a new beginning.
That's right.
And so I just applaud you. I think at any age and stage, that undertaking your entrepreneurial journey is amazing, and it's exhilarating. You obviously want to have lots of support around you, because it will have ups and downs. Remember, it's never just a straight trajectory. And, be aware of things like imposter syndrome, which affect us all, certainly affect me.
Yep.
The more that you start striving and that you start achieving in your career as an entrepreneur and in your business, the more that you'll start comparing yourself to others and thinking, there's always going to be people that are further along the road than you, and there's always going to be people that are still following along. So let go of the comparison game, believe in what you do what it is that you are really hugely passionate about and really skilled at, and you can create a Venn diagram about what is it that you're hugely passionate about, what are you skilled at and great at delivering, and what can you earn a good income from, and then find that sweet spot in the center where what it is that you are naturally talented and good at, that fits together with a way that you can create a business out of it. And then, I'm really passionate about business and seeing people succeed, and some of those fundamentals, I guess, having a really good business coach or somebody to bounce ideas with, and just creating even just a simple, 1-page, 2-page business plan that clearly articulates who is it that you serve, what is it that you deliver, what is the problem that you solve for that target market. Really getting clear on your niche and your target market. And I know that is challenging when you start, because you just want to help everybody. Like I spent years, I was a lecturer at the New Zealand College of Fitness, and we mentored hundreds of personal trainers that went out. And so our goal was always, what is it you're going to specialize in? What is it that's going to make you unique? So really learn to really tap into who your target market is and how can you serve them, how can you add more value for them, and really niche into that so that you can become an expert in what it is that you deliver. And then it's just about figuring out, all the detail of the how and the pricing points and the modes of delivery. There's a lot more, obviously, online businesses out there. So getting skilled up in social media marketing, how to create a great story and share your stories that fit behind your brand. There's a whole movement around, the story brand book. That's fantastic. And, being able to communicate and connect and obviously build up a following so that you then can serve those people and just keep reaching out to them, asking them what they need. One of my products is this course that I offer now called Overcome the Overwhelm. And that really came out of me going out to my community saying, if you could ask me one thing, what would it be? And I had dozens of people who almost word for word said, oh, well, Lauren, how is it that you juggle family and work, and I just move internationally again, and they were aware of all that. I said, how do you juggle it? And it was almost word for word, all these different people from all over the place. And I thought, wow, people really need this. So I brainstormed basically, did a brain dump and came up with a 6-module program around different things that I could do that would help, and then started running that, and I've tweaked and changed it. It's now become 8 modules because I realized some of them were way too big. But, if you, as a business, as an entrepreneur, if you keep going out to your market, asking them what they need, how can you serve them, and then, believe in your value and deliver on it and be consistent and exceed expectations. I know that's probably a whole lot of tips, but in very big picture, but those are really the keys. And underpinning all that again is believing in yourself and having daily rituals that help you to, it's almost like shower. Someone said, you've got to wash yourself in your self-belief each morning, like when you're in the shower in the morning, whatever it is, have routines and have support networks and a team around you of advisors or business coaches, people like Kat, who can actually help you to stay on track and stay the course.
I love that. You've got so much gold in there. I think we're going to have to get you back and get more of that out, I think. Because there's so many different topics there that are so pertinent to women who are, launching out in their entrepreneurial journey about, watching their overwhelm and keeping themselves physically healthy and whole and doing the self-care. There's just, so many things there. So just remind us again, how long have you been on your entrepreneurial journey for? You and I have talked, but I don't think we've
Yeah, so well, I've worked in health and wellbeing for 20 years, but I did start out in employed roles in gyms and as a club manager and an HR manager. I formed my company 14 years ago as Lauren Parsons Wellbeing. And so then I've done a range of things. Initially, I was just personal training, and I was doing group training, then I started speaking to businesses, and now I specialise really in workplace wellbeing. So I focus mostly on going into larger organisations and looking at their strategic approach to wellbeing and doing executive coaching and leadership work, and really looking at helping create a culture where people thrive. But as well as that, I still have some people that connect with me one-on-one, and so I have online courses and online programs and books that have come out of necessity really of moving internationally and needing to wanting to still help people in some way. And now here we are in lockdown, and I mostly work now as a professional speaker and consultant, so all of my events, as yours have been, Kat, I'm sure, are cancelled or postponed for the next 3 months. So I'm here just pivoting myself as well, and really loving the opportunities that are coming out to actually work a little bit more one-on-one with entrepreneurs, and also to deliver online webinars and well, actually I don't call them webinars, I call them online workshops. Because I think webinars have quite a static and maybe just a sales pitch sort of
expectation to them.
With them, whereas what I'm really delivering is what I would deliver in person, but now just doing it online, and I'm sure, Kat, that you will be as well. And that's a huge way that you and I can help people right now. So I guess people are listening in, that if your business has been hugely affected right now, it really is about taking a moment to mourn that loss, because there may be a loss. Like I was really sad about all the plans that I had laid, my calendar that was full. I had to actually realise I had to mourn that loss. And then once you've done that, pause, take a deep breath, and just picture how you imagine you want your business to be for the next month, for the next 3 months, for the next 2, 5, 10 years. And just dream big and come back to what you really love doing, and see how you're going to pivot and shift what you do to make it work for now. And I'll just encourage everyone out there to spend that time to do that, and again, surround yourself with other great like-minded colleagues that can help to build you up on that journey.
I love that. That's fantastic, Lauren. And it's so appropriate, because, we've got this situation now where we're in lockdown, our economy is slowing down, but women are going to encounter things all the time. Life happens, doesn't it, all the time. So it may be a death in the family or a divorce or whatever. There's going to be times where you as an entrepreneur need to do exactly that. Stop, grieve, let go, breathe, and what direction now, recalibrate basically, and keep going. And so would you say that's what's made you so resilient? That's how you've lasted this long in business with all the moves and everything?
Well, I have to say, one thing I want to say is I haven't got it all together, and I've certainly had huge failures along the way. I mean, I can think of times when I tried to start a new fitness class, and I advertised it, and I was there, and it was $5 a person to turn up, and I had nobody turn up.
I know
times
that.
when I tried to launch something, and it's just, there's been multiple failures, but you don't always see a lot behind the scenes. So you might see someone like Kat or I and think, oh my goodness, I could never do that. But I can tell you, 10 years ago, I would have never believed that I would be speaking on a TEDx stage, and yet it happened. It was nerve-wracking.
You did it so well. You did it so well. As someone who watched you do that journey, it was so exciting to see.
Thank you. I mean, it was hugely exciting and a huge, huge honour. But again, just if you've never heard of imposter syndrome, and you may be realising, oh gosh, I have these fears about how it's all going to go, that's probably a big thing, is to know that none of us have always got it all figured out. We're all just aiming to learn as we go along. And if you can keep a growth mindset, then you will succeed. You just can't not succeed unless you're just literally sitting in your room doing nothing. If you are out there doing something and you're passionate about something and it's going to serve and help people, even if you get knocked back along the way, you absolutely will succeed. And I just wish you all the best with it.
Oh, that's fabulous. I think we'll leave it with that. Thank you so much, Lauren. That has just been so much gold in there. Where can people find you? Yes, it's so cool. Where can people find you? I will put all the links up, but tell us where they can find you.
Well, the best thing is probably just to head to laurenparsonswellbeing.com. And so that's just my main website. If you are interested to get my ebook, it's called Live Well, Work Well. And that has got my 5 Live Well principles, and then just some really easy checklists of ways you can apply those different, one pillar from within each principle in your life. So that's just at Lauren Parsons Wellbeing. And if people want to hear more about the TED Talk and the whole snack on exercise movement, okay, this is really for you if you're not sure how to get started, or you feel like you've got no time to exercise, or perhaps you don't even like exercise. Check out snackonexercise.com, and I hope that I'll help you shift your paradigms and see you inspired to give something a go, even for 1 minute a day.
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
Cool.
Okay, I'll have all those links up, and thank you so much again, Lauren. Just been brilliant, and all the best for you and your bubble down there. And
thank you.
And to everyone out there around the world listening to this, pray that you are staying safe and your families are all safe. And thank you again, and let's all continue to rock our midlives. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kat.